This is lesson 9.6, benchmark fractions. Let's read our objective together. I can use benchmark fractions to estimate fractional parts. First, we need to talk about our new vocabulary. We have a new term, benchmark fraction. A benchmark fraction is a commonly used fraction that is easy to identify and easy to visualize. That means you can picture it in your head what it is. Some good examples of benchmark fractions would be fractions that are easy to identify and easy to think about, like 1/2, or 1/4, or even 3/4, or 1/3. Those are fractions that we can easily think about and picture what those would look like. Some non-examples of good benchmark fractions would be fractions like 7/12. When I think about 7/12, I have a difficult time picturing what that would look like. Also, something like 8/10 would be difficult for me to picture. What other examples and non-examples of benchmark fractions can you think of? The reason that we use benchmark fractions is because they help us to be able to estimate and to visualize what part of a fraction we're talking about. So if you look at the picture of the fraction strip here, you can see that there is one whole and that part of it has been shaded. You can see this part of it has been shaded in blue. So I want to think about what benchmark fraction could we use to describe what part of this whole has been shaded. Think about that for just a second. Did you say that that looked like it was about 1/2? If you did, great job. You can see from right here that the part that I have shaded in this fraction almost matches up perfectly with what I have here. A benchmark fraction doesn't need to be exact, doesn't need to match exactly, but it needs to be about the same in order to use it to identify a fractional part. Let's try another one. Take a look at this one whole, and I have shaded part of it. You can see the part that's been shaded in blue. About how much does that look like? What benchmark fraction could you use to describe the part of that whole that has been shaded? If you look at these two fraction strips side by side, you can see that the part that's been shaded up in this one is about 1/4. It's not exact, is it? But that's okay, because remember from our objective that we're talking about estimating using benchmark fractions. So I can estimate that the part of this fraction up here that's shaded is about 1/4. Now you get to try one. Take a look at this fraction strip. Look at the part of it that has been shaded. What benchmark fraction do you think that you could use to identify how much of this whole has been shaded? Did you write 1/3 on your whiteboard? If so, good job. You can see that this is about 1/3 of the strip. It's not exact, but it's approximately, and it works great for an estimate. Here's a few more to try. Take a look at the flowers. About what benchmark fraction of the garden is covered in flowers? Did you say 2/3? You can see that it's been divided into 3 parts, and 2 of the 3 parts are covered in flowers. What about this one over here? The circle. About how much of that one is covered in flowers? Did you say 1/2? If so, good job. It's been divided into 2 equal parts, and 1 of those parts is covered in flowers. Take a look at this bottom one. It's a little trickier. Think about what benchmark fraction you could use to describe the flowers. Did you say 1/3? If I look at this, it looks like it's been divided just about in thirds, and 1 of the pieces is shaded. Now you know how to use benchmark fractions to estimate fractional parts.